Mind Body Life show hosted by Frederick Entenmann on Global Voice Radio on Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern. During his show, Mind Body Life founder and best-selling author Frederick Entenmann investigates the little-known insights and daily methods used to create explosive life transformations and transitions with those that have risen from struggle and ascended to greatness. Here is your Mind Body Life host, Frederick Entenmann.
Welcome to the Mind Body Life show. I'm your host, Frederick Entenmann. I'm a former professional athlete, a best-selling author of Surviving Sports in the Game of Life, a coach, a consultant. I help individuals from all walks of life, but most notably, I help professional athletes create lasting success and win the game of life. I want to welcome you to episode 41. This is all about aches and pains, our body maintenance 101, why movement makes miracles. And we all want to wake up feeling rested and refreshed with our mind and body ready to dive into the day, ideally. But unfortunately, the bold truth is for many people, that's not how mornings begin. And I've seen clients every day who are frustrated by waking with pain and stiffness and fatigue. And they generally always ask, why do I feel so physically uncomfortable when I get out of bed? It's really the question I hear again and again, but very quickly, just kind of butting into my own thought here, I have to say the great secret or miracle is really moving first thing in the morning, especially since scientists have discovered why we wake up stiff in the morning. It's really because our body's natural, let's just say, ibuprofen has not kicked in yet. Researchers revealed the reason our limbs can feel rigid and achy when we rise is because the body's biological clock actually suppresses anti-inflammatory proteins during our sleep. That's why after a really brisk walk and you break a sweat from biking vigorously, you suddenly feel amazing because you're releasing and flooding your body with all those they're known as the feel-good hormones, right? But what are those? We're talking about your endorphins. Now, these are the chemicals that are released by your pituitary gland, which is located in the base of your brain, and estrogen even. Estrogen determines whether carbs or fat fuel the body during an intense exercise session, and the dopamine, which is a pleasure chemical, your growth factors, which is the first hormone that's released, is human growth hormone, also called the fountain of youth hormone, right? And the kids release ample amounts of it, but as you age, it becomes less active, and we sleep less, and your human growth hormone levels decrease. But when you power walk, your body uses this fountain of youth hormone to turn fat into fuel. And then we've got our serotonin. But look, the truth is, there could be a number of sources of soreness and stiffness and discomfort first thing in the morning. And it may involve the sleep equipment you're even using, for example, your bed and pillow. It also may be related to inflammation coming from one source or another. Let's kind of take a look collectively at what can cause morning pain and fatigue and what you can do about it. And if you're like me, to understand your middle-aged body and its capacity for abuse, picture kind of a rubber band that's been sitting around in a drawer. It's not as supple as a new one. It may even be brittle in places, and it's certainly more prone to snap. Before you curl up in a drawer yourself, utterly deflated, and remember, there are ways you can stay strong and limber. Just a steady, gentle use can prolong the life of a rubber band, right? And regular exercise and taking time to warm up can help you avoid injury and stay active your entire life. It's absolutely folly to go on a ski trip or sign up for this club tennis tournament without some preparation. That's nonsense. Common sense, is really all in all what the experts advise anyway. So be realistic and just pace yourself, so they say, right? Look, from 40 plus years of personal experience and coaching thousands, all I can say is really everyone's different. You really need to understand your body, as it almost goes along with everyone's different personalities. And certainly also from my scope or from my perspective, as professional athletes know, aging affects performance. We're talking about diminishing muscle mass. And that's at a rate at about 1% a year after the age of 40. It's one of the major changes. The loss of muscle tissue adds up, and actually reaching 10% over a decade without regular weight training to negate it. A subtle weakness at 40 or 50 becomes frailty at 60 or 70. And that's a quote from Dr. Nicholas Denubal. He's an orthopedic consultant to the Philadelphia 76ers, and he's also a spokesman for the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons. Muscle mass not only affects strength, but weight, because muscle tissue is an important calorie burner, and therefore that's why we want to work on our muscle mass. And the gradual loss of water, collagen, and blood flow throughout the body also takes a toll. Tendons become less elastic. They become more vulnerable to tearing and causing these things that we've never had before. Suddenly we have tennis elbows. We have golfer's wrists and aching shoulders that come out of nowhere. The discs in the back, actually designed to cushion the spine's notches like tiny shock absorbers, also start to shrivel. And as Dr. Denubal also says, what was a grape becomes a raisin. So similarly, loss of cartilage can affect the joints. This includes your hips and your knees and your ankles. So the normal progression of change may not bother everyone. Joints do remarkably well, actually, and most go a lifetime without wearing. But damage from an old injury can really become inflamed as one ages, and then the healing takes longer because cells do not divide and repair themselves as readily. And if your eating and lifestyle is trash, this is quickly going to lead to a joint replacement. So you really need to prepare your body. The better shape you're in, the less likely you'll be injured, and the more quickly you will recover if you are hurt. But even fit people should avoid that high impact or even jumping into a new sport or elevated level of activity without some preparation. There's so many people I know of personally that just jump into something and suddenly they're injured, or they have to go to an orthopedic surgeon, But, another quote I have here is, whatever you entertain to do, make sure you first do something for strength and flexibility. And that's from Dr. Barton Nisenson. He's a former team doctor for the New York Rangers and the New York Jets, and he's now chief of sports medicine at Lenox Hill Hospital in Manhattan. He also says, remember, you are not 18. Again, we have another very reputable doctor saying, use common sense. Before exercising or competing, you can warm up by just running in place or doing jumping jacks, anything to get the blood flowing and the sweat dripping. That's what we want to create. Body heat relaxes the muscles, makes them suppler. That's actually why outdoor environments like Florida, California, it's a great environment to retire in because it's warm year round and you're getting your sunshine, you're getting the water. You can go out in an all sunny environment and feel great. There's something to that. Environment's very important. One of the best personal practices that I've implemented with age is to get up. As soon as you get up, I literally have my shoes 10 feet from my bed. I put them on and you go out the door for a walk. But you really won't believe what a positive change this will make in your life. You get all of that fresh oxygen in your body first thing in the morning. and the movement creates a general heat. And if you're like me, over time, you've learned how to, what brisk movement will help you break a sweat. Because I always find myself feeling much better and pain-free afterwards. And I find it funny because you can almost tell those people that literally roll out of bed as they're wearing their pain and discomfort, and they take it with them wherever you see them in the morning. If it's at, the coffee shop or the bagel shop, or even at work or working out, or they wear it, right? And I don't want to interact with those people because if you're in pain, it's going to affect your mood. Another great way to just warm your body is direct heat from a moist towel, or even a warm or hot shower can also help. There's all kinds of heating pads out there with new technology, infrared. I bring this up because for us who have 4 seasons as well, it is not ideal to go outside for a walk when it's below 0 outside. Personally, in that situation, I like to go into a sauna and then follow that up by either an ice cold shower, an ice immersion, or a bath. That sounds a little brutal, but it works. Also, just a forewarning, stretching was often thought to be a great recovery modality, and it is. But please keep in mind it can cause muscle damage as well as actually do more harm than good. And recent studies are mixed on whether stretching prevents injuries as much as has been believed. And according to a Dr. John L. Turner, who's the director of sports medicine education at the Indiana University Center for Sports Medicine, but it certainly doesn't hurt, and my recommendation is to still do that, he says. But save stretching for post-movement, not before. Again, from a very notable expert. So I think all in all, look, ease yourself into a new activity, ease yourself into a new sport, or one you have not practiced in years. Even if you used to run 5 or 10 miles a day, start with a half mile 3 times a week. See how you feel. Gradually increase your distance and frequency. And then try to alternate your forms of exercise to allow your body to recover. Very important. Like, for example, running one day to work the legs, and then alternatively rowing the next for the upper body. The greatest population of folks I see are 35 to 55-year-old men trying to get back into the activities they did before and start kid raising and the career thing, says Dr. Turner. And there are 3 main reasons those folks end up in my office. They get into trouble when they do things too much, too fast, or too long. Again, an orthopedic expert, Dr. Turner. So, condition for ski trips. Prepare yourself way in advance, especially for marathons and tournaments, by starting to train 4 to 6 weeks. I'd say even 8 to 12, having run marathons myself, with appropriate exercising. Jogging uphill and downhill makes sense way before downhill skiing. I think looking back upon my whole career, I recommend also having trained, keeping your mind, thousands of clients. I thoroughly recommend going through a functional evaluation of your body's strengths and weaknesses, followed up by a custom exercise program, which constantly changes over 12 or 15 or 18 weeks. And that's always tailored. Anyway, even then, others emphasize you need to warm up and go slow. I think that's a general rule of thumb. And then listen to your body. Left shoulder and left arm pain with no apparent sports injury can signal a heart attack and warrant immediate medical attention, for example. After you exercise, pain that is generalized or on both sides of the body tends to come from muscle overuse and should clear up within a few days rest. But pain on only one side of the body or in one spot really suggests an injury and should be evaluated. And similarly, pain that wakes you up in the night or doesn't go away in like a week, this really deserves professional attention. Swelling joints that can't fully bend or straighten, and any deformity obviously are also symptoms of injury. And with experience, you can learn the difference between a little bit of muscle soreness versus an injury. Muscle soreness tends to be a symmetrical and in the center of the muscle as opposed to in the joint. It's usually not as severe and goes away in a day or two. That's really the difference. If you're worried about crunching or cracking sounds in your body, it's actually pretty normal. I can say if there's no pain or swelling, they're certainly benign. But those noises that also hurt can certainly mean a problem. So I can also say try not to ignore ankle sprains, because what I learned about a severe ankle injury that ended my my basketball career in general, repeated sprains leave a joint unstable, leading to more sprains, which will often require surgery. So if you get the same ankle sprain or any other sprain in your body, let's just say 2 or 3 times, definitely see a physician. And these are all examples of using common sense. The rule of thumb, really, all in all, I'd say if you want a healing modality, ice for injury, heat for recovery, and apply ice to reduce swelling and pain for 48 hours, then switch to heat to soothe stiff muscles. And alternating hot and cold baths can also speed recovery by accelerating blood flow. I like to think of Scandinavians plunging into the snow after a stint in the sauna, or jumping into the ice water. If your pain is an isolated part of your body, just ice it quickly. Ice is an absolute miracle modality. If you are unfortunately one of the millions of adults who relies on taking painkillers, such as even aspirin frequently to help manage ongoing joint or bone pains, there are much safer alternatives to taking these drugs, whether you even feel it in your low back or shoulder or knees or elsewhere. A number of natural remedies can have been shown to help relieve symptoms of joint pain. This is including stiffness and reduced range of motion and difficulty walking. There's some research that shows about 1/3 of all adults experience some type of joint pain every single month. Which areas of the body are joint pains most likely to occur? Typically anything that involves repetitive movements or that takes that brunt of the body's weight, such as your low back or your neck or knees or hips, your shoulders, and again, your ankles. So depending on the severity of your symptoms, you might choose to leave your joint pain mostly untreated, or on the other hand, to resort to daily medications just to cope with the aching and throbbing. Some people experience sharp pain with each move. Making something as simple as carrying groceries can really be a daunting task, while others only experience symptoms every now and then. So whatever the cause of your uncomfortable joint pain is, it's definitely worth giving several natural treatments a shot first before you reside to medications. These can actually include a combination of supplements. You can go through dietary changes, exercises, and salt baths to help naturally ease swelling and inflammation. And I really bring this up because opioid epidemics within professional sports is so big. and in general public too. Your common areas of joint pain, first, let's just say the joints really are the tissues that connect your bones and help support movements throughout the body. So joint pain affects millions of people every single day. And it's really a symptom, let's just say, whatever the symptoms are on severity of 1 to 10, they're tied to dozens of different disorders. Well, it can sometimes feel like your joint pain is originating from a muscle or even surrounding bones. It's actually most likely coming from the inflamed joints and surrounding soft tissues. So muscle aches or bone pains can sometimes occur along with joint pain, making matters much worse. And all these symptoms may happen at the same time if an underlying health condition, such as like osteoporosis or autoimmune disease, like rheumatoid, is causing the pains, really those painful symptoms. For example, when someone has osteoporosis, when the bones become less dense and more likely to fracture, the condition can also contribute to severe back pain, poor posture, and really a reduced ability to walk or even stand properly. So according to the Arthritis Foundation, joint pain is most likely to develop in one or more of the following areas. You have your neck and the top of your back and spine. And neck pains are commonly tied to poor posture, such as your forward head posture, or sleep-related issues or stress. And the jaw, such as with the condition of TMJ, which actually stands for your temporal mandibular joint. Of course, the knees, the hips, the low back, and your low back, which I actually have a lot of experience with. I went through years of low back pains, commonly related to pain of the sacroiliac joint, your SIJ. Studies have actually found in about up to 77% of people who experience consistent back pain that cannot be contributed to another disorder. And in about 89% of pregnant women with back pain, inflammation of the SIJ is the root cause of symptoms. The sacroiliac joint is a load transferring mechanical junction. It's located between the pelvis and the spine that can take that brunt of the upper body's weight when someone has poor posture, or it can become aggravated due to childbirth or conditions like arthritis, or most commonly if you're in sports, an injury. The back of the legs, the shoulders. The shoulders are a ball and socket joints, which really make them more susceptible to injury as well. Your wrists, your hands and fingers, such as with, most commonly now, with carpal tunnel syndrome. And then your ankles and feet and heels and toes, especially in runners who experience injuries or those who exercise with poor form. There are also several potential causes for joint pain, which can include, obviously, aging, older age. As you age, and as your age increases and the collagen that builds cartilage in your joints starts to deteriorate, aches and pains are more naturally just likely to occur. Your arthritis or osteoarthritis, and those with arthritis develop pain due to a complex, it's a neurophysiological process that leads to the generation of inflammation and painful sensations. You have overuse due to performing repetitive movements. For example, runners or even triathletes often feel joint pain during long runs. Other sports and hobbies that put pressure on a particular joint over and over can also worsen symptoms, like dancing or cycling. I've even known yoga instructors, gymnastics, soccer, football, rowing. You get the point. Wearing the wrong shoes or worn out sneakers can even worsen joint pain in the legs. And it's even a big problem amongst basketball players. So shoes can be a major issue. Sometimes, which can travel up the body to the hips, pelvis, and back. Poor posture is a major issue. It can cause injuries. You have impact or trauma, obviously, which you want to lessen as we age. Inactivity or leading a sedentary lifestyle, such as sitting for many, many hours per day. An autoimmune disorder that increases inflammation, such as Hashimoto's thyroiditis or fibromyalgia. Muscle pains are an injury that places pressure on a joint. And joint pain may also become worse if another condition starts weakening muscles or causing bone pain, such as bursitis, osteoporosis, or a fracture. And in rare cases, due to an infection or a virus or illness that causes that achiness, such as a cold or flu, right? And also, a major contribution can be a lack of sleep. It can actually lead to fatigue, aches, and stiffness. So all in all, treatment for your joint pain is going to depend on how severe the symptoms become. And in most cases, even when drugs are used to lower symptoms, your doctor will also recommend lifestyle changes, hopefully, to prevent pain from returning or worsening. And these, again, hopefully include exercising or changing your current fitness routine, stretching to a degree, physical therapy, possibly losing weight, and addressing any underlying health condition. If your symptoms are temporary, so it's acute joint pain, such as due to an injury, then your doctor's likely going to recommend taking an over-the-counter painkiller to reduce inflammation while you heal. So these are going to include the drugs, aspirin or your ibuprofen or naproxen sodium. When pain is ongoing and very strong, so you have that chronic joint pain, then your doctor is most likely going to recommend taking prescription, your NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. In extreme and some very extreme cases, that can even be an opioid drug, which I hope is never the case, because medications to reduce pain, yes, can help to improve their quality of life, but it needs to be used very carefully and used as a last resort, since they can cause side effects such as loss of bone mineral density, interactions with other medications, and even addiction and intestinal bleeding and indigestion. It goes on and on. A classic remedy actually for pain, all in all, is Epsom salt. You can soak in this. You can soak your feet in this for any muscle or joint ache, because it's high in magnesium and sulfates, and Epsom salts are easily absorbed through the skin, and they provide a quick relief. They lower inflammation. It's going to reduce muscle spasms and relax those tense areas. All you have to do is add 2 cups of salts to warm bath water and soak for like 15 to 20 minutes. And, if you don't want to soak, alternatively, you can make a compress and apply directly to the skin. You can also, something I've also done, which is really nice, you can also try adding essential oils to your Epsom salt bath. Now, the kind you choose are going to depend on what's causing your pain, right? So you have to know someone that knows essential oils. But, for example, I like to choose lavender essential oil, especially if stress is worsening an existing condition that causes pain. Or you can apply peppermint oil if the pain site seems or feels warm and swollen. Another go-to is hot and cold packs for immediate joint pain relief. Rest the painful area and try a hot and cold approach to manage the pain. So apply a hot therapeutic gel pack to the affected area for like 15 or 20 minutes, and then immediately follow up with a cold ice pack for another 15 or 20 minutes. If you can't stand the severity of the ice, which can be an issue if you're not used to it, just let it thaw out while you're applying the heat. Even a mildly chilled pack is going to help bring relief to a stiff area. Trust me, ice is absolutely magic. So try to apply ice or heat every day if possible, and aim again for at least 15 minutes. Keep the area elevated. If the swelling's really bad, to reduce fluid retention. Like me, I had repetitive ankle sprains. I know enough about this to talk about it. And a general rule of thumb really is go 10 minutes on and 10 minutes off for a couple times around. At least 2 or 3 rounds of that, and you'll be feeling really good. Another helpful approach is applying peppermint essential oil and eucalyptus oil to spots that are inflamed and swollen. Because due to their that cooling menthol effect, peppermint and eucalyptus reduce heat and the swelling and discomfort as it absorbs right into your skin. Actually, I was reading in animal studies, again, in natural animal studies, okay? They're not harming these animals. These oils have been found to not only suppress pain tied to inflammatory conditions, but also to decrease fluid retention, which is edema, right? I used to get edema all the time in my ankle. Other essential oils for arthritis and joint pain include your frankincense, your orange, and turmeric oils, and even myrrh. Now, I started off this podcast, actually, movement makes miracles. Getting enough movement and exercise is probably number one on the list for me. Stiff muscles due to inactivity can cause joint pain in the body or worsen conditions such as arthritis. For example, tension in the leg muscles, which often seem to spasm, can be responsible for added stress placed on the knees and your hips, as weak muscles contribute to the instability and higher risk for injuries or compensations. So regularly exercising can help strengthen and stretch the affected joints and muscles, therefore improving circulation and often reducing pain. Additionally, the stronger your muscles and joints become, the better chance you have of staying active without dealing with pain. This is helpful for preventing weight gain and can add pressure to sore joints. Some of the best low-impact exercises for people experiencing joint pain include, I'd say swimming, water aerobics, cycling, using an elliptical, and walking, of course, or yoga if appropriate, especially hot yoga, because then you're getting the heat that penetrates. It's really nice. You've also heard me mention it before, doing the burst training exercise is one of the best ways to stay active almost anywhere and with little time. You don't have to commit to hours of traditional cardio to be active. You can start small and work on increasing flexibility, coordination, and strength in weak areas. Work on your weak areas and you're going to feel magnificent within 4 weeks. Wearing, I'm not big on bracing because it actually immobilizes a natural occurring plane of motion. But if you have a second or third degree ankle sprain, for example, wearing a brace or wrap around a painful joint, it's going to help you as you get started. So ask your doctor for a physical therapist for advice about this approach if needed. That's what I would say about wraps and braces. I think weight loss is absolute necessity, no matter what, no matter how fit you think you are. If you lose 5 pounds, you're going to notice. Carrying around that extra pound, or if you have a lot of extra pounds, it's going to put unnecessary strain on your joints and bones. And if you already suffer from joint pain as well, or you have a bone disorder such as osteoporosis, or being, maybe you have a degenerating joint. The simple point is being overweight, it's going to accelerate bone degeneration sooner or later. Even shedding just a few pounds, to reiterate, it's going to ease pain and it's going to prevent against future problems. It's really one of the most preventable solutions to any pain or aggravation within the body. In most cases, when being overweight or even obese is contributing to a health problem, all of the experts, any experts, if you read or listen, they're going to recommend, you want to aim to lose about 5 to 10% of your total body weight in order to see if symptoms even improve. Always, always, always make your dietary modifications. The easiest, simplest way to prevent against pain long-term is changing the diet, especially since chronic inflammation in the body is associated to what we consume. The chronic inflammation in the body causes weakness, and it's going to eventually lead to tissue degeneration. So I'd say all in all, what you put in your mouth is even more important to how you move your body. So by implementing an anti-inflammatory diet, which I've had podcasts about, the joint and bone pain caused by inflammation and swelling, it's going to likely start to decrease. And your omega-3 fatty acids found in foods like your fresh cold water fish or chia seeds and walnuts, these are all great for helping to lower inflammation in the body. Your fresh fruits and vegetables are loaded with antioxidants that slow the effects, that slow the effects of aging. So try to limit or even completely remove processed foods. Get rid of your trans fats and added sugars at all costs. And these are all going to, these added sugars, all these can cause severe inflammation in the body. Collagen. If you don't know what collagen is, collagen is the type of protein found in our bodies that helps build joints and keep connective tissue strong and elastic. Collagen really contains 19 different amino acids, or the building blocks of proteins. They all have essential roles for both mental and physical health, including keeping us pain-free and happy, because the collagen actually acts like a sort of a natural glue in the body, and it holds things like our skin and joints together. And collagen has many, many benefits, like supporting our healthy muscle growth, decreasing arthritis symptoms, healing the walls of our arteries and digestive tract, boosting our energy, and helping us recover from workouts. And some of the main dietary sources of collagen include your foods that are very high in protein, such as your chicken and freshwater fish and eggshell membranes. And collagen, it can also be found in supplement form as well, such as in your collagen protein powders, or obtained naturally from consuming. The new thing is that real bone broth, which is actually excellent. I've tried it. It's really good. You can go with your proteolytic enzymes. A great alternative to aspirin is taking a proteolytic enzyme. Enzymes are helpful digesting protein. They help digest your amino acids, which is needed to repair damaged tissue. Anti-inflammatory herbs like turmeric and ginger and boswellia are great for reducing inflammation throughout the body. Again, your essential fatty acids like omega-3 fats have benefits throughout your body as they help fight inflammation. Electrolytes like potassium and sodium. You need electrolytes to reduce muscular pain, and control fluid retention, and help with detoxification. They can help really your body fight inflammation by helping to bring water and nutrients into your body's cells. The potassium aids in flushing the waste and other toxins out of your body's cells, so low levels of potassium can cause joint pain and swelling. The average American consumes much less potassium than they really need due to eating little fruits and vegetables. Your leafy greens, sweet potatoes, bananas, avocados, and coconut water are foods that have a good balance of electrolytes and speed the healing process. Calcium and vitamin D. The body can't absorb enough calcium without adequate amounts of vitamin D. You can try glucosamine. It's naturally found in cartilage. And the best way to consume glucosamine naturally is by, again, preparing a bone broth. Look, because there's so many different reasons that you might be experiencing joint pain and inflammation and overall achiness, if your symptoms last for more than several weeks or are sudden or are unexplained, visit your doctor for a diagnosis and rule out any conditions that might be causing your pain or worsening an existing condition, such as an autoimmune condition, arthritis, or another problem. Your doctor is actually going to discuss potential causes of your symptoms. Hopefully, they're going to go over your diet or stress levels or exercise routine. Again, all that to tackle the root problem. And in the meantime, try to rest in the area that is very inflamed or recently injured. And if the pain comes and goes for you, work on gently stretching and regaining that range of motion, and stay active in order to prevent stiffness from worsening. Obviously, the joint pain overall is a very common problem among adults, but current research suggests there's never been more youth-induced joint problems, which is very interesting. At any rate, especially now that we know all the risk factors, such as overuse. You have your overuse with certain joints in the body, or having an existing health condition like arthritis, or being overweight or obese, or living a sedentary lifestyle, or being very stressed, or eating a poor diet. We just went over all this. So I hope this has helped you. Again, if you are in a state of wanting to really work on your personal growth or your health and wellness, contact me, message me. Let's see if you really want to make strides and gains in your life, let's talk about it. I'd love to help you. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I look forward to coming your way next week. Take care.
Thank you for joining us. Listen every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern to Frederick Intamin host Mind, Body, Life. Connect with Frederick at www.globalvoiceradio.com. Tune in next week for another edition of Mind, Body, Life on Global Voice Radio.